Wesley,
Yeah, sir. Very
welcome
nice to be
again.
back. Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
Very nice to be
It's
back.
the winner's chair, you know. It's you're doing.
I remember my first time here. My game was a draw,
Yes,
and then the second time was a win, and finally happy to be back with another.
another win. Okay, so we got to go up, up, up.
So I noticed there were lots of interesting games today.
Yes,
First of all, the world champion seems to be on fire.
after a very bad start, suddenly
Yeah, after-
3 in a row, huh?
Somehow Van Welly gave him a lot of courage.
So
I mean, yeah.
Luke's the guilty guy who gave him the confidence
Gave
that
him
was
lots
missing.
of confidence. Yeah. Okay. So now
Take us
about
through first
my
of all.
game.
Yeah, first just these keys.
So I was black. So
First of all, have you played before? Have you matched up with? You played one
I
game.
played
I think,
Batur last year in Bergamo in Italy, and I was white in that game.
and you have won. If I
Yeah,
remember.
it was
That's
a very
right.
critical game, but this
Okay.
time I was black. So I wasn't sure what to expect from him. He
Bishop
plays.
E2.
I mean, he played once, even first move B3 in a tournament game.
Okay.
So, as my mother told me before the game, it's better to just get some rest because you cannot expect.
The guess
You
is
cannot expect his variation. So, for example, D3 I'm very surprised. I thought he would go D4
Mhm.
because he played that before. But anyway, here is all main lines.
1,000 games from this position, and
And then
I'm not
he
sure
surprised me with-
anybody has ever played Bishop D5
And then he
before.
surprised me with this move. But the point is very simple.
Yes.
If I play very normally, D6, then he takes. And then he plays this position, which is a typical anti-Berlin.
Yes.
For example, H3 and then castle, rook E1. This has some similarities to, I think, game 2 of the World Championship Carlsen-Anand match,
Mm-hmm.
where it was a Berlin and Carlsen took on C6, except the pawn was on C3 now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the idea is just try to meet black's plan of F7, F5, but for example, maybe King H8, Knight BD2, and then I'm not sure, maybe ideas like Knight G8, F5. But
I remember a game between Mickey Adams against the computer Hydra.
where in this game?
Yeah, well, something very similar where the computer eventually went D3, D4 after
And the computer won, of course.
yeah, and the computer won and just exploited the double pawns. So this was something you wanted to avoid.
Yeah, this was something. I mean, I don't mind playing that position, but I think just getting the bishop pair is simpler.
Clear.
As everybody knows, I like two bishops. Like you. Huh?
Don't give up your secret so readily. Okay, so this looked like a reasonable,
Well,
very reasonable. In
Many
fact.
world champions like the bishop pair. Right?
Absolutely.
Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer, Anatoly or Gary Kasparov.
Anyway, he has to take on E5 now. Because,
Right.
for example, if he goes something like this, D6, D4, then I can castle, and then after C4, which seems to be good for white after E takes D4, Knight takes D4 with the idea of bishop E3.
Yeah.
I was simply going to play F6.
Right.
And I think black is better here because
Yeah.
of the third bishop G4. And if H3, then maybe Knight F5.
Forcing.
And then the bishop on A7 awakens.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm not sure until where he calculated, but
Mhm.
I was looking at this position, and I think black is completely fine after D6.
Only to avoid the Knight D5, Knight F7 trick. And after
Knight D5, Knight F7, yes.
Yeah, well, that would be a cold
Yeah.
reality. And we saw a line where your king is not
I
happy camper.
didn't even look at this position.
clever. D7,
no
D6
need to
is
spend time. Yeah, D6.
right.
And I didn't see any tricks for white, so he has to go back with his
Mhm.
knight and takes. And I think it's very comfortable. Of course I was calculating some lines just to make sure because my king is uncastled right now, but
Mhm.
I didn't see anything for white. So after rook E1, for example, bishop E6, knight G5, castle, takes, D4, E5, and I mean queen B3, C6. I mean I saw some lines like this. I wouldn't bore the viewers, but I just say that black is completely fine after queen takes B7, queen F6.
Agreed. Yeah, the bishop on A7 is looking at the white king
Yeah.
very nicely.
So, just to make sure that black isn't in trouble in any way, just had to calculate these lines. So,
Mhm.
bishop G5.
Trying to disturb you.
trying to disturb me from. Of course.
Harmony.
Yeah. Of course, I cannot move my queen first before my bishop, so this wasn't an option.
Right. So f6 was
F6.
rather forcing. Yeah.
And I calculated this line, and I think bishop e6 is a good move because black tries to seize the initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Example is threatening now. Move like knight f4. So, our example if knight b2 can be met by knight f4. And seems that all the complications favor black. And I was also look briefly at rook e6, king e6, knight b2, but c6 is very strong with the idea after that queen b7 is always met by the move queen c7, and the black king safely hides behind his lady.
Behind the lady.
So
I like that.
yeah, of course.
So the sacrifices are simply not working any. For
I didn't think it worked,
mm-hmm.
and of course my opponent Badur Jabava is a very imaginative player,
Mm-hmm.
but I just didn't simply see any tricks for him, so I went for this line.
Right.
I mean, I can play more solidly, for example c6, but it's less ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
So bishop e6 is good, and so
C4.
there seems to be nothing. For example, if he takes here, then just hurrying back with the king and rook f8, and then the king hides all the time.
G8, and it's like you achieve castling.
Mhm.
Yeah, when the castle
Actually,
by the hand.
to be honest, I think this is my first tournament victory with black after the moves e4, e5.
In a long while.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I usually play e4, e5 to get a solid position, but the downside is most games usually end in a draw.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy. Anyway, c4. So keeping the bishop there, and I think black has to be better. I'm not sure if Badur went for the most accurate.
Okay.
Knight c3. I mean, he could have probably played more accurately. I could also have went rook f8, but I didn't want to allow him to play something like knight d4, h6, queen c3.
Mm-hmm.
And then the knight comes to d4 after king g8, knight d4.
And then his knights are actually coordinating and finding good squares.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was
And
why you tossed in this
Although
very fine move g4, yeah?
I still prefer the bishop there. Yeah, so g4.
Nice.
And he has to go back and rook f8. Now, one simple point here is that he can never take the pawn on b7 because after queen b7, bishop b6, and then there's the not so obvious threat of rook a7.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. It's like
the hand got caught in the cookie jar, right?
it's like yeah. So never works. And here he played knight e4, which I'm not so sure. I thought there was one idea. I was looking at the game, so
Mm-hmm.
using this knight to go to e4, and after
Okay.
king g8, using this other knight. So now the point being that, for example, let's say black plays b5.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe there's the idea of g3 with the idea to jump to f4,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not.
Because in the
Percent
game, he
sure.
had the knights on e4 and d2, and they were duplicating one another.
There were duplicate. Yeah.
And now you're saying that at least there's more flexibility in white's position. I agree with you, by the way. I still like black's position very much, but maybe this was a better chance.
Better, yeah. I mean, this was one of the ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and black probably has to take on f4 when after the knight jumps there,
Yeah.
and black still has to be better. But if I sacrifice an exchange, it entails some risk,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to be too risky in these kinds of tournaments.
Bad things happen.
But so going back, but he played quickly. He played knight c4,
Mm-hmm.
king g8, and rook c1. Now he's threatening to take the pawn on b7. So I played b5, which looks to be the most logical way of defending these pawns. And here, okay, he also played very quickly, queen c3. And rook c8 might be one possibility here. But
Mhm.
bishop b6 and a4 is probably his only move.
Well, if he allows you just to go queen h4 and double rooks on the
And-
f-file as a kind of a resigns.
Yeah, for example, like this, queen h4, knight d4, and then, I mean, apparently, seems that it's blocking my bishop, but after rook a8, white is just lost. because I prevent his
Jump to
jump
E.
from e6. So I was hoping he would go knight b3, but of course he doesn't. So a4.
Only way to disturb you. So he's threatening a4, a5,
It's a
and it
good move,
causes
and
you.
then here,
Yeah,
and I have to save my bishop.
right.
Because for example, if I play something like bishop b5 or bishop f5, it takes and queen d4, and doesn't seem to be so clear because the queens are still on the board, and I'm a pawn up, but his knight is very well centralized, and there is no clear plan to continue. So I just have to save my bishop here. And I think knight a5 was a mistake, but I'm not sure. I think he has to go for knight e3. Still with the same idea to renew the threat on the c7 pawn, but his knight defends his king.
You just feel safer actually to be on
Yeah.
e3.
And so I have to defend maybe rook c8. And then I'm not sure, queen a5, and take this pawn.
Could you have
At least
been?
his king
Could you?
is very safe.
Could you have been greedy there a moment? You're
I play bishop b5,
and
knight
maybe
g4,
knight g4, bishop
d3,
d3,
queen
something
a4.
similar. Yeah,
But maybe
Then
queen
again,
h4.
it
And
looks again like your bishops are excellent. Your bishops are
what
just
happens
great.
if
Huh?
queen d7, just king h8? Yeah, they should favor black, no?
Clear.
But one thing you have to avoid here is g3 taking the knight.
The old discovery. Yes.
Wait, knight d6 doesn't work. Bishop f2.
Right. That
And
was the
then-
answer. Then the queen
wait.
is protected. There's no discovery anymore.
Yeah, bishop f2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so queen a5, bishop b5. Also, Ivanchuk drew.
Yes.
Good.
So our tournament leader did not
Yeah, I
increase
mean-
his lead.
He was on.
Plus
He's still on fire.
Yes, he's doing great.
I hope by the time I play him, he'll be cold already.
Somebody
very
chill
good.
him. Somebody chill
Yeah,
him.
Ivanchuk is very dangerous when he's
Oh,
on
yes.
a roll.
Without question.
So looking
So-
at the pairings, and I noticed that I don't play him until near the end of the tournament.
Excellent.
So maybe black is also better. But I thought knight a5 was too risky for him
Agreed.
because here queen h4, and here he started to use a lot of time, and he found the only defense, which is rook c2.
Okay.
Just have to because one thing he wants to avoid here is g3, and then queen h5, because it just helps me attack the d5 pawn, and queen takes c7 doesn't work because of bishop takes f2.
In our commentaries, we were trying to get these sacrifices to work.
Yeah, that's
Normally, I was doing it in a bad way, but this looks like a good one.
this is winning
Ah,
for black. Queen b2 or queen f2, maybe both are winning. No, only queen b2. Okay, so queen takes b2,
mhm.
and the king has nowhere to hide. For example, if queen c3, queen b6 check and mate,
Oops.
or if rook c3, queen f2, and bishop b5. Yeah, it should be.
And E1 is going.
Yeah, I was going for mate.
Mhm.
So these are some of the. So that's why rook c2 is the only move. And
Okay.
here I'm not sure. I'm not sure if rook f7 was the best move. I mean, I was getting relatively low on time, and unfortunately,
What was your
rook-
alternative? Yeah, you were
rook-
looking
I
at
was
rook
looking
E-
at rook e8, g3, queen h5, queen c7. Well, what was I have something here? My alternative was either bishop b5 or bishop f5. Let's say bishop b5, so we
Okay.
cannot take this anymore. But
Right.
I'm not sure. Maybe knight c6, bishop b6.
hmm Well,
But
long term,
I
it's
feel it's
just
kind
like
of
this
slow.
is just very unpleasant. I mean, your bishops are in good squares, and you're
I mean, I'm a pawn up at the end of the day.
to begin with, but you also have the initiative. Rook f7 and rook f8 is,
Yeah, bishop b5.
and unfortunately, his pawn on d5, as you pointed out, when he plays g3 and you drop back with
And
your
our
queen,
queen, and then
queen takes d5.
once
is,
if I win this pawn, then it's
well,
over.
it's just then it's gone.
Maybe I saw something. Maybe d4,
hmm
and then he wants to take, and then maybe rook e8. So if he takes on c7, I have bishop d3.
hmm
No, if he takes on c7, d4 is hanging. And
Also.
if knight c6, bishop b6.
This simply looks great for you. I mean,
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, in this tournament, you simply don't give up your pawns.
no,
Because
not without clear compensation.
like
huh?
on my yesterday's games against Ifan, I gave up a pawn, and which was objectively wasn't the best. But I in the end we drew. But anyway, yeah, rook. Bishop b5 was one option.
Okay.
The other option is bishop f5. So he cannot take on c7 because e4, and then he has to go back knight g3 and then bishop g6. But this I'm not so sure. Knight e7 is a threat.
Because of knight e7 check, he's grabbing one of your bishops. You wanted to keep both.
Yeah, I wanted to keep. So maybe bishop b5 was, but I spent a lot of time, and I just decided that bishop b5 is too slow. I just decided to go for a more concrete line. So he has to take.
Right.
Oh, maximum one. Good. Rook.
One of
Bishop
the players who were sharing the second place, Ding,
Ding
is lost to MBO.
The very complicated Caro-Kann defense.
Yes.
But yeah, Ding lost his first game in this tournament, and then he won his next three.
Yes.
So he's a very dangerous player.
Streaky, yeah. By the way, did you see that game at all? Do you,
I
when you were
did.
playing, were you concentrating, or did you actually
I
see?
glanced at the position. I did. And I mean, in the opening, Ding played very quickly.
Blitzed everything?
It was all preparation.
I know. It was really remarkable.
But that just means that preparation is not everything, because
You still have to win the game.
I mean, you still have to play well.
Correct, right.
But yeah,
So-
that game is very. Anyway, play bishop b5.
At this moment, you had the feeling that you're much better, or that it was complicated.
No, I
or-
don't feel it. I don't feel that I'm much better. I felt it was already very complex, and I have to be careful because first of all, I'm no longer a pawn up.
Right.
I actually didn't expect that he would take my pawn. on
No,
d6.
that was
Yeah,
shocking
that
for
was
us to.
Kind of surprising.
We thought Queen C3 was more or less forced. I didn't.
And it's probably around equal. I mean, I'm not sure. Rook f8, and then was it d4? Yeah, d4 or rook e2. Yeah, maybe d4. And let's say, no, those I'm gonna play here.
Queen H5 somehow
Queen
is
H5?
reasonable because you're.
But it takes, and this is what I saw. Bishop b8 doesn't work because of rook e5.
Oops.
Yeah.
Nice move.
And actually, I was looking something g3.
Wow.
Things, but he just takes, and he was rook e1, unfortunately.
Creative variation.
So I'm not sure why I didn't play queen c3, rook f8, d4. What was I gonna play? Maybe I was gonna play rook f5. But then
Knight would drop in.
Rook
Yes.
h5, queen g3. I just was surprised. What if rook f3? I think I saw something like this in the game. In the worst case, white has rook e3. I think the point is just after takes king h1. Black has queen h3, rook g1.
Queen g4, rook g1, queen e4.
Yes.
But now knight g3 is a defense. I apologize. Yeah.
That doesn't look that simple. I mean, I have something like this.
But you were saying about you're
Can be.
worried about giving up a pawn or two without justification. Here you gave up the rook. You're much happier to give up the rook than the pawns.
That's why I said the other day chess is 95% calculation. Huh?
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't play queen. I mean, if the position would have been very unclear then.
Right.
Maybe bishop b6 and then he jumps to c6.
Well, there's no question that he's a bit of a gambler. He enjoys really. So he played queen takes d6, but that must have been a calculation error because he doesn't play for a loss, but
yeah,
he's playing.
here I'm not sure what I would do. I mean, yeah. Not sure who is better until I see the computer evaluation, but yeah, take was kind of exciting for both of us. So I have to take.
Right.
And then, yeah, here rook c7 surprised me too. I thought he has to go rook d2.
Right.
Did you look at rook d2?
Off and on, I think we were going back and forth because Magnus was playing a really intriguing
He played really
game.
well.
Yeah, and we thought, was there some line with Rook F8 and saw sacrifices against F2 and thought it was
Rook
better,
F8.
better for you.
Yeah, Rook F8. I saw this, but he has Queen.
And that was like one
Yeah,
of the
Queen
major
E6.
defenses was Queen E6 was to keep you from going hog wild. Yeah,
And King H8.
right.
Let's say Rook takes.
Rook takes
But then he takes.
and Rook takes.
Really?
Well, there's a threat of mate
Really?
and there's a threat of discover check.
Play H4.
Well, that gets rid of the threat of mate. Do we have some trickies here? No, taking the queen. No guarantees of success there.
He goes to my king.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so why didn't he play Rook D2? It's very strange. Rook F8, Queen E6. Actually, I'm not sure what to do because, for example, takes, then he threatens Rook F4. I mean, I don't think black is worse. For example, King H8, Rook F4, takes.
Mm-hmm.
But, definitely not better. So let's say Queen E6.
Well, is Rook F8 the best move? Maybe in this exact moment. Rook E8, yes. Yes, I think actually we have seen that move with ideas of Bishop F2 and Rook F2.
And let's say take, just Bishop F2.
Yes.
Rook
And
E1
yes.
and King G2 and then Rook E2.
That looks nice.
That should be winning.
Yes. So it's actually Rook E8 is a very annoying move.
Yeah, I think he missed that in the game. Rook E2 is a good move.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are lots of complicated variations.
Absolutely.
And I probably didn't play well. I shouldn't have gave the C7 pawn. But at the end of the day, I was just happy to have won. So Rook C7 I think was a mistake.
Okay.
And then I saw Rook E8, which was a good move. After which he has to take my bishop.
Yeah, terrible pins now on the
Yeah.
e-file.
Just one line to show why
Please.
it's so deadly. It's because after knight c6, then bishop f2 just leads to a forced mate.
Exactly. Show that to our audience. Knight F2, Rook E1, King F1.
King G2, and let's say Queen H3.
Nice. Nice line.
Yeah.
Beautiful pattern.
Yeah, and everything's defended. For black, and exchanging my active rook on f7 doesn't help because it just gets replaced by another. At the same time, there's no way to defend this pawn.
Clear.
So here, rook takes a7, rook a7,
Mhm.
and then he went for knight c6, which I think is another mistake. I thought he have to go for queen b4.
Mhm.
That probably should be lost anyway because he's down on exchange. But I thought it's his best chance.
Mhm.
First of all, attempts to win immediately doesn't work because rook e7 obviously is met by knight f6.
Mhm.
And if I move my king, then he can move his knight. And
Because E1's protected.
e1 is protected now,
Mhm.
and it's not very simple. So after queen b4, maybe I have to take his knight, just
Okay.
trade some pieces, and
Okay.
then takes on e4,
Mhm.
maybe, but then try to win this. Maybe.
Exchange Rook D7, Queen E6 check, Queen F7.
Rook d7, you play knight c6.
Oh, you've got this nice cheapo of
Well,
the fork on E7.
It is only chance.
Yes, agreed.
And
Yes.
then you gotta be careful. Maybe queen f7. Maybe, but queen f7, queen takes. Let's say
What-
queen f7.
Yes.
Mm,
Well, it's a technical. It should be technical win for you to be an exchange up. Yeah, but for sure, Queen B4 was his best chance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he-
queen b4 would definitely make the win harder for me.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I'm not sure if black is completely win. Maybe he is, but you
Mhm.
never know. You never
Right.
know. But I would have to play accurately to win.
Okay. Fair enough.
So this, and then I just have to defend rook f7, and then we went queen b4. And
Too late.
Yeah, too late because he has no good way to defend his pawn.
Right.
And I think he's just lost.
Mm-hmm.
What he did in the game was fine, or he can also go f4, but still it's lost. So, what was I thinking? Yeah, queen d4. It doesn't even give him any chance because h2 is hanging.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, a desperate measure like this doesn't work because I also have my pass pawn.
Exactly.
And king c4 and then check here first,
Mm-hmm.
and then he cannot even push his pawn. So, yeah, he went for check, king h8. And I know my opponent, Badur, is extremely gifted and tricky player, but looking at this position, he simply doesn't have enough pieces. And if it takes, and of course, trading queens would be a
happiness. Makes your life much easier.
trading queens equals no tricks. So that's why everybody plays the Berlin.
By the way, we have a tweet for you, Wes. You've got a lot of fans, of course, not just in the Philippines, in the United States, around the world. Wesley So is winning me over as a player. By the way, he embraces the interviews. He enjoys sharing it as well.
I enjoy being here. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean,
not at all. It's very nice to get your perspectives of what was going on in the games and to share them with us.
I'm really happy to everyone who's watching the games in the tournament. It's it's honor for me to be here and just I enjoy being here. But
by the way, are you on the social media site, the Twitter?
Yes.
Do you do Twitter yourself?
I'm mostly on Facebook. And I have a fan page, but Mother updates it every time.
Right.
But I'm Twitter not as much, but I do have an account, and you can follow me at WesleySaw93.
Okay.
So yeah, it is completely lost. But
yes,
one thing I just like is just
sure.
make his rook. It is just basically his rook has to defend a d6 pawn, but it's trapped there.
Right.
So I go for a decisive attack on his king, rook e6 and h4. Just check, and it's simple enough.
Right. He can. The blockade is.
So yeah, I think my Badur made some mistakes in the end, but that's what everybody does in a long tournament. Everybody makes mistakes.
But overall, first of all, very high quality game, and like you said, it's so nice to win with black, especially e5. I mean, it's been a while,
and
the victories in this kinds of competitions become very, very crucial. Now you're trailing Ivanchuk by half a point. Is that right? You're +2.
I'm +2.
Very nice. So second
Magnus
place.
also +2.
And Magnus
but
also.
It's a very long tournament. First of all, we're not even halfway.
Yeah, it's a marathon. Absolutely, it's not a sprint.
So anybody can still catch up. Even the, even the lowest.
Right. Yeah. The leadership can change.
Anything can happen.
But overall, Wesley,
it's no time to celebrate.
No, of course not. No. Not even until. Not just you have to wait to the closing ceremony. You have to wait to celebrate for the money to go in the bank account. But no, seriously. My overall impression is that you're in good form. You're feeling good here. The storms aren't bothering you. The windy storms.
No, not really. I mean,
and you're in good form. You're
become used to it.
Yeah,
and
good quality games. You have everything to look forward to. Actually,
it's still a long term. Well, it's just most important to not get too emotional, too excited for any player here, and just keep on going. Because we're not even halfway through the tournament.
Right, but again, when you reflect on the game so far, I don't say anything bad. I don't see many mistakes in your play. It's not like you're playing error-free. No, you're questioning some moments, and I appreciate that you had some difficult things. But overall, the number of mistakes that you've made are very small.
Thank you. I try to improve every day.
Well, you're impressing everybody. Wesley, thank you so much.
But
much success.
After reading lots of interviews from Magnus, the world champion, and also from Fabiano Caruana. It's one thing that came to mind is when Fabiano won the Singfield Cup last year.
Yes.
He just said he cannot be content because he knows that there are still thousands more games that are waiting for him and for me. So
Cool. Nice attitude. I like it. En passant with Magnus, then a wrap. All
Okay,
right,
great.
that's what's coming up.
Yeah, so
Wesley, again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
we really
you.
do appreciate
And,
it.
thanks for having me. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye now.